Related, just because you mentioned the elusive peace in Ukraine.
Right.
Who is holding up this Ukraine ceasefire summit? Is it Putin or is it Zelenskyy?
Well, I think it's that one is, as you know, we've been working on a lot of these deals. We've closed every single one of them all throughout the world, and that's the last of them. And they're losing, Peter, about 6, maybe even 7,000 soldiers every single week. Russia, as you know, lost almost 25,000 over the last month and a half, and Ukraine lost just a small number, fewer. It's a lot of people are dying, and I think we're getting very close. And we're going to be announcing later on. We're going to have a meeting with Russia. We'll start off with Russia, and we'll announce a location. I think the location will be a very popular one for a lot of reasons. But we'll be announcing that a little bit later. I just don't want to do it now because of the importance of what we just did.
And I completely understand.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Follow-up. Are you surprised that Zelenskyy hasn't figured out by now, in years of war, how to deal with you and to deal with Putin without needing permission to make concessions from his parliament or from a national referendum?
Well, he's going out and getting what he needs. You know, he's not authorized to do certain things. I said, well, you're going to have to get it fast because, you know, we're getting very close to a deal. And he's doing that, and he's working with the European nations, and they're terrific people, terrific leaders, NATO. And as you know, I became very friendly with them. They agreed to go from 2% to 5%, 2% that they didn't pay to 5% that they've already paid. It's trillions of dollars. So, you know, we're working together very closely. But no, in all fairness to President Zelenskyy, he's getting everything he needs to assuming we get something done. But I'll be meeting very shortly with President Putin. It would have been sooner, but I guess there's security arrangements that unfortunately people have to make. Otherwise, I'd do it much quicker. He would too. He'd like to meet as soon as possible. I agree with it. But we'll be announcing that very shortly, okay? And location. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, with this meeting with Putin, is this Russia's last chance to achieve peace? And do you expect Ukraine to make any type of territorial concession?
Yeah, I don't like using the term last chance. Look, it's, you know, look, this is two very, very smart people. They've been going at it and their predecessors also very smart. They've been going at it for 35 years. It's tough. And, you know, when those guns start going off, it's awfully tough to get them to stop. It really does. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president. There was no reason for it. So many people are killed, so much cultural destruction. You look at those magnificent towers, the most beautiful in the world. You know, the spires were considered the most beautiful in the world. They're all in a million pieces, laying on the ground, all obliterated, knocked into a million pieces. So sad. But millions of people have died. And very, very much set in their ways. A lot of people were set in their ways, but I think we're getting close. I mean, this was not my war. This was Biden's war. But the European Union has been great. As you know, they're purchasing equipment from us. They have a lot of money, and they're spending a lot of money on buying equipment. We're not spending money, but we are supplying them equipment. They're paying for it. And I think, you know, that a lot of things happened recently that would make this go forward. I'm not going to mention anything having to do with India, but maybe that had an impact. But what really had an impact was NATO has stepped up in terms of their spending on buying military equipment. You know, we're in for probably through Biden and his people, $350 billion. $350 billion. When they hear these numbers, you're saying that's a lot of money. $350 billion the United States has spent on that. It should have spent nothing because it should have never happened. It would have never happened. And Europe is in for over $100 billion, which is, it should be the opposite if we were in for anything, but it should be the opposite. And I will say that Europe wants to see peace. The European leaders want to see peace. President Putin, I believe, wants to see peace, and Zelenskyy wants to see peace. Now, President Zelenskyy has to get all of his everything he needs because he's going to have to get ready to sign something, and I think he is working hard to get that done.
Will Zelenskyy have to give up territory, Mr.
Well, you're looking at territory that's been fought over for 3.5 years with, a lot of Russians have died, a lot of Ukrainians have died. So we're looking at that, but we're actually looking to get some back and some swapping. It's complicated. It's actually nothing easy. It's very complicated, but we're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both. And but we'll be talking about that either later or tomorrow or whatever. Yeah, please.